Hello there guys, my name is Jay or the A and welcome back to another episode of the Space Engineer Spotlights, where today we're looking at yet another mining vessel, but this one is actually remarkably ridiculously awesome. Reason why is because it is completely modless like some of the others I've looked at, and it just looks phenomenal. It is huge, it has that element of giantism that comes with mining vessels of sort of the 21st century, and it does look absolutely badass. Now, this thing is literally called the Mobile Mining Base, and it's by a guy called Extevious-V, and he's done an absolutely awesome job with the whole exterior and the interiors, and there's loads of features on this thing that are really quite cool. And they may be a little bit samey to some of the other vessels, but it's a mining vessel, and mining vessels, you know, tend to have a lot of the same sort of features because they do similar things. So this craft is huge, if you haven't already noticed. It's bonkersly massive, and I love the way that he's used glass to make it look as if they are supporting sort of wires and cables, and it looks really sort of smart like that. I think it looks really cool, really industrial. And on the flames coming out the top, I've seen that on other things, but it does look really nice. And I think the one thing that really does sort of baffle me and surprise me with this build is the wheelbase, because you have these 6 sort of connected wheel sections, and they all basically take weight of the ship, and it looks really cool and really different. So if I actually go underneath, we have sort of, this is like the mining platform here, so we actually have the drill here that digs down to 38 meters, which is quite cool. It's a bit wobbly, but yeah, so these are the wheelbases I was on about, and they are massive. It's just absolutely bonkers how big they are. We then also have some very large hydrogen sort of stores here, because this vessel, rather than just being a mining vessel, can actually act as more of a mobile base as well, because you actually have sort of a landing strip at the top, which essentially allows you to refuel and resupply ships, which is very useful. And you do actually have access to it from inside the ship, which is cool. So there's no sort of faffing around to get on top of there, which is quite cool. We then also have a collection base here, which would be for, I think it's a collection base. Oh no, it's actually a oh yeah, it is a collection base. So this is essentially where all the materials would go. So you drop them in here, they'd fall down to here and into the dropper, which is really cool. I never actually realised that. I just thought there was a dropper there. But yeah, that's really nicely done. I like the way he has kind of put in some elements of gravity being needed, which is really nifty. So on here we do have some ways of getting up onto the craft. Now, as you probably can tell, there are some lifts here which are on the pistons. Now these basically drop down so you can sort of step up. So if we just start going into the ship now, what we'll do is we will reverse the lift, which brings down this nice looking sort of bit that essentially comes down to ground level. You can literally walk onto it, which is very nice indeed, and then we can reverse it and we can head back up. Now, for whatever reason, Space Engineers wants to sort of push me around while I'm on pistons, which isn't nice. And there we go. So we're up here, we're up on the platform, which is cool, and we can then just walk off and carry on. Now, that is the only difficulty I've had, is just you have to kind of jump. Bit of a hop, skip and a jump to sort of get over there. But once you sort of get over that, it's fine. We also have some things for alarms here, which we can turn the alarms on and off, which is quite cool. I did just turn them off, there we go. And then we also have just the controls here again. So we can put the alarms on, stop the ship, lower the sort of elevators, and then we can sort of pick the person up and carry on. So it's just a way of like warning people not to move while you've got those down. But yeah, so let us crack on. So he does have everything signposted really well on this craft. What we've got here is we've got, to the right hand side we have the command and medical center. We then have maintenance, and then to the left we have the rest and observation, and then we have the lift. So I think what we will do is we will go over here first, because there's not too much to look at. But yeah, so what we'll do is we won't head through there, we'll head into the top deck first to show you what's up here. So this is just like a large open space essentially, which I quite like. It's nice, it's clean, I think, that's the way I like it. So what we've got here is just got where that dropper was that we saw earlier. We've got some nicely exposed timer blocks and whatnot. We also have some interior turrets which are protecting us, as well as some exterior turrets which are just protecting us, I guess. So let us head through this door, or this airlock, because just to let you know also, this thing can work on the moon. So you can go moon mining. How you'd get this thing off of the moon, I don't know. It seems like a vessel that you'd kind of keep on a planet, never take it off there. Or if you did want to be adventurous, build a ship, let it pick this up, whatever. So in here we have all of the cryo chambers. We have sort of a seating area. We then have your med bay and everything else. It's quite nicely tucked away in here. I quite like it. We then also have our air vents. Now, we do have control over the gravity generator on here, because we can turn that on and off, I believe. I think anyway. But yeah, so we do also have the lights for at the top. And then if we head through this sort of double door, which is nicely protected, we then also have the sort of main cockpit, which does actually tell you what you can do within the ship and whatever else. And essentially, there's a piece. Is this a free floating piece of glass here? I'm assuming it is. So a block has actually come off here, which isn't the best, but that's no fault of mine. It's just a little thing that the guy forgot when he placed in the block and everything, and didn't realise that it doesn't pick up on any of the blocks and sort of falls off. But yeah, so we've got loads of things here. We actually have some details on the ship's damage and whatever else. So this actually shows us what's going on the ship, which is really, really cool, really, really insightful and useful. One thing about mining ships is that the screens need to really show useful information, because there's so much going on in these things, there's so much material passing through them. You need to have a clear idea of what's going on, which I think you get with this. So as we head up, we've got more windows, which is quite nice, and then I believe this takes us out onto like a top deck where that sort of timer block is. Yeah. So essentially this takes us out to sort of an area where you can access the cargo. We then also have some wraparound sort of bits that allow you to, that we've got these like walkways that could connect to something onto, which is quite nice. Some more walkways around here. And it's just kind of, again, general maintenance. We have all the blocks here, timers, a projector block, and all that other stuff. And then it kind of does get blocked off there, but I'm not really bothered. You can get round the other way, which is fine with me. So that's quite nice. I like all the walkways, and the accessibility. He's just kind of added it in there, and there's no real bother, and that's quite nice. So then, as I showed you earlier, you can head up, and then you are back up here, which is the sort of landing deck, which does actually have sensors on, which I'm guessing the sensors pick up on a ship and will sort of turn the connectors on and off when you need them, which is quite good for power saving, to be honest. That's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind that idea. Let me just double check what those sensors are actually doing. So let's just click on one. So what are you doing? Let's go set up actions and see what the hell is going on here. Oh no, okay, so they just turn on lights. But essentially that'd be quite good though. Imagine having this turn off this when a ship gets in sort of close proximity. So, or turns it on, sorry. So when you need the connector, it turns itself on and activates, rather than you having to manually do it. That'd be quite a cool idea, actually. Let's see that happen. So let us head on down and find our way back down. So we head back through these doors, and we can head to the maintenance department, which is below. There was actually a little staircase that we walked past, and that was essentially the maintenance. So if we wander back around this corner, and we go, yeah, so it's back here. So we go down, round, and straight forward. We can essentially walk through here, and we end up with all the gubbins that keeps this ship going. We have oxygen, we have assemblers, we have other bits and bobs. And then this actually tells us that we've got the drilling platform, the rest in observation, and the lift there. So we can head on back that way if we really want to. We then also have some nice little sort of tucked away control seats that tell us what's going on within the ship. So this guy down here would be maintaining or making sure that everything is running smoothly, and we have appropriate materials to sort of keep the ship going, which is quite nice. And then we have these two huge tyres on the front, which, if you don't already know, these act as a bumper. So if you do start going up any sort of incline, you'll sort of dink on those rather than hitting on the ship. Which also brings to question how this thing actually does on inclines, because I imagine it wouldn't be able to go as high as other mining platforms I've looked at in the past could, because it's quite a flat platform to be working on, and I think it might struggle a little bit. So let us, oh, we've got a nice another little screen up there showing us what's going on with the ship. I like that. I like how you got all these little things, little visuals that tell you what's going on. So let us head over to the Reston observation, which is literally just past this giant hole. That's pretty damn cool. I like this. I do like this, how it's got like the grav gen sitting right in the middle. And that would be, of course, if you're on the moon, you'd set that down so you can walk around the ship freely without sort of hurting yourself and flying off. So up here we then have some more sort of reactors, and again the platform, which is huge. And we can actually get up there via these sort of steps, which I might go up in a little second. We then also have a nice little winding walkway which takes us down to what I'm assuming is sort of, oh, this is the little garage, because it does actually have a little garage in the back and a little door, which is nice. And I like the way he's done the door. So if we open and open it, so essentially what happens here is the door starts to rotate down, and then from what I'm led to believe, yeah, these actually come out and sort of pop out, which essentially makes the door a little bit smaller. Why it's gone so steep, I'm not sure. I don't think it should have done that, but it has, which is a little bit strange, because essentially I can't climb up that anymore. But if the hitbox worked for the airtight hangar doors, that would essentially sit sort of here, so you'd be able to, you know, drive a car or a ship onto this. Maybe you've got some drones that you want to sort of hide away inside the back of this craft and use when you need to for, I don't know, scouting out materials and stuff. That might be quite useful. So let us head back up, and we will go round, and we'll go up that staircase actually and see how far we can get up into the top of this rigging, should we call it. So let's climb all the way up here, and I like how you got this like interlacing sort of bits that sort of are crossing over each other. It kind of gives it a bit more mooriness, if that's any sort of word to use. So let's open up this door and we can cross. Whoa, this is pretty damn dangerous right here. Jesus. What are these blocks? Oh, text panels. Oh, cool. So he's actually used text panels as a walkway. That's nifty. I like that. So essentially what we can do up here is we can actually see the progress of the drill going down, which is cool. And then we've just got some other bits and bobs. So we can get up to the top of the drill. Can't get necessarily up to the very, very top, I don't think. Let's just have one last look around. No. So we can't get to the very top, but I don't see a need to get to the very top, because this is quite high, and you can use this as a really good vantage point, to be honest, to see what the hell's going on everywhere, which is nice. And again, it's good because you just, as a ship like this, you're very exposed, and yes, you've got guns to protect you, but you're still exposed, very slow, very sluggish, and not meant for fighting. So you've got some good sort of vantage points to look out for enemies, which is nice. Now, just before we walk back, if you notice, there's an arm here. Now, what this arm does, I think there's two of them. I think. There's just the one. But essentially, this arm is a kick out. So you can activate this arm, push it out, and essentially this sorter will push out any materials you don't want. So you could put in whatever materials you don't need into that sorter, and they will get pushed through into there, and then they get disposed of out the side. So say if you wanted to get rid of stone, or you had too much ice and you wanted to get rid of ice, you can just throw it out the side of the ship. And the best part about it is, because it's on that piston arm, you're not hindering the ship's movement, because you're not throwing all this stuff for the tyres to get caught up in. You're essentially throwing it out to the side of the craft, so you can just keep driving on, which is really, really clever thinking, really, if you think about it, because you might need to dispose of stuff on ships like this. You will most likely come into a point where you have too much and you need to get rid of stuff. So yeah, we then also have some solar panels which do have some sort of access, which by means of sort of climbing and clambering to them, which I don't particularly mind. It's not exactly hard to do. And again, if you're trying to not use hydrogen, you can just walk up these and walk across, and then fix them if they're broke or whatever else. More turrets, and then we can head through into here. Now in here is the observation and rest area. So we've got some seats here and whatever else. We've got a siren which would ring the alarm. And then we have you know, this thing that just tells you what's going on, as well as another indication of what is going on in the craft, which I believe it is the rear section that looks at, but I'm not particularly sure. So let us head up and we'll have a look at what's going on in this observation tower. So this is a little bit higher. This is actually quite useful again. This is a little bit higher than the drilling platform. So for those who said, well, why do you need this if you've got the drilling platform? Well, you are a little bit higher with this. You've got a little bit more of an advantage, probably about, I don't know, 5 or 7.5 meters, something like that, which isn't too bad. And again, it is quite useful because you can see what's going on. You kind of got almost a 360 visual. You've got a bit of blockage from the drill tower, but that ain't too bad at all. So yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. But my only issue is space engineers really need to bring back ladders, because I super miss them for things like this, because having a ladder up here that you could climb up would be super sweet. But until that fateful day comes, I'll just have to wait until passage blocks get like the update they deserve and everything returns back to normal. So let us start, shall we? Let's start working on this. So we have got controls for the drill. So that turns the drills on down there. And we can also use this platform, if I don't fall, to look down and see what's going on. It does wobble a little bit, which does worry me. But what we can do is we will reverse the pistons, which hopefully should be going at a sensible speed. And we can essentially just begin to drill. Now, this is kind of cutting it close to the tyres, because the box that gets destroyed almost kind of catches the tyres, but with the external tyres they'll be able to pull the ship out if the inside tyres did get stuck for whatever reason. Now this is moving at a nice steady pace. It's very slow, to be honest, but I don't mind that as long as it doesn't damage itself and hurt itself. And we've also got some nice little buffer systems here with the cargo containers, so the materials go into here first, it's like an overflow for these, and then get funneled through, which is good. But also, I've noticed, this doesn't connect. This doesn't actually connect to the main... oh no, it will connect to the main tower through these. But these, I think, are maybe... maybe you could hook a ship up and pull directly from the drilling platform. I don't know, but that's quite nifty how he's got them like that. So again, it's like a dual purpose. But notice the swing I'm getting. Look at this. Oh my god, that's it's a little bit touch and go really. But let us turn that off and we'll go and have a look at how this thing drives, because I have already played around with it and it does drive pretty well. So we'll turn those off. The whole ship is actually wobbling. Yeah, if you look, the whole ship, we've got a little bit of a wobble on. Yeah. So the actual platform itself jiggles around when the drill's going, which again, look at that. The sway on that is pretty intense. I fear for that. I genuinely fear for that. Imagine if you... oh my god. I'm scared that might snap, but oh well. Let's carry on. Let's go to this control area, and we've also got some side access to that main platform, so you don't actually have to be outside, which again is another bit of good thinking. You got 2 routes to one area, which is useful. So let's head through here, go around the corner, straight ahead, and we'll end up in here, and here we are in the driver's seat. So we have the flight seats, which why you'd want to turn... okay, so the handbrakes get turned on and off. Okay, that's cool. It's probably looks like we have a bunch of handbrakes, but we are the main cockpit, so that would control everything. We then have 6, which controls the beacon. We got the antenna. We also have the alarm on and off, which we can't hear at the moment. We have the I'm not sure what those are. We have all the cameras, we have the rotors, and we have... what are the rotors for? 7. Let's speed it up. Okay, so we can control this camera to get a full 360 view, So we can have this thing running at the slowest it possibly can, and we could just be monitoring the area as this thing surveys. That's pretty, I like that, it's pretty neat. And then do we have, so we've got one underneath, one looking below, one in the hangar, another one on the top. That's pretty nifty, I like that. Now I've just turned, okay, it's almost open the hangar, that's not good. So we'll just hit T to come out of that. Next controls we have are, if I go back into G, we have the connectors, we have the Gatling turrets, and we have the lights. We can turn all those on. That's pretty cool. Let's give it a drive. And what we'll do is we'll find some sort of incline. You have to turn this via gyroscopes. There is no turning circle because of the amount of tyres, which I don't particularly mind. It works nicely. It hasn't broke yet. But as you can see, that drill is still being a bit wobbly with us, which does worry me. So let's try and push it up to some sort of fast speed and maybe try and put it through its paces. We are quickening up. No, we're not. In fact, Space Engineers kind of just struggled then to know what the frig was going on. That was strange. This thing only gets up to 45 miles and kilometers an hour, which is quite slow, really. How fast can we turn? Let's turn up my DPI and give it some welly. We can drift it, but I think I broke something. No. There it goes again. Okay, so for whatever reason, Space Engineers has got stuck in like a stutter. While this thing was driving over like 45 kilometers an hour, it just went into like stutter mode and basically struggled to keep up, which is bonkers. I don't really know why it would do that. But yeah, you get this thing over like 45 kilometers an hour, and again, it just starts to really bug out on you. Like I'm sitting in it as a nice like 30 kilometers an hour, and it's going alright, to be honest. It's picking up ores and things like that. But for whatever reason, it really did not like going any faster. So let's just slam on that handbrake, which does actually stop us pretty damn quickly, if you noticed. And let's jump out. I mean, I like this craft. I really do. I like its scale. I like the features. I personally think if ships like these are going to be built, maybe build them so they have a higher ground clearance, because I'm not sure whether that has anything to do with it. I mean, it hasn't taken any noticeable damage, but I feel as if this would be too low for big inclines. I mean, I could try that, but I know what's going to happen. We barely got up to 45 kilometers an hour, so I think this thing will literally just bomb out on me and stop. But yeah, I think maybe build it with a bit more. If you also notice, it's wobbling quite more considerably, which again is more Space Engineers than the build itself. But yeah, if you guys have enjoyed this, please drop it a like, favourite, and of course subscribe for more. Go and check it out in the workshop, and I'll see you guys later. Peace!